All right, Bo, it's been a while, man. Let's get things going here. Let's talk about a few things before we talk about what we want to talk about. Let's
Oh yeah.
let's
Okay.
let's get going here. So number one,
Okay.
it's been about a year and some change since we've last recorded,
Yes.
talking about pop culture things. Just a lot of different, just a lot of time going on. There was a lot of, I mean, you've moved. I've been trying to
Twice.
expand. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've been trying to expand some kind of different avenues, things like that. I have a
Yep.
new job. I'm full time somewhere, so we're going to talk about a lot of different things. But
Yep.
also, first and foremost, we need to talk. I've changed the name of the show to Random
Okay.
Schmidt. So
Random Schmidt,
it is
which is
Random
I think is
Schmidt.
yep, which is perfect. I think
With
that flows a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. Because what you haven't seen, starring Bo Fogel and Ethan Schmidt, was a mouthful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was still catchy. Don't get me wrong. It was very catchy, and I definitely like the banner, the picture that you created. Uh, but I think like when you have it was very specific, it
Yes.
was a very specific title. With Random Schmidt, well, the title kind of goes with it. It's like, well, we can talk about really anything,
Yeah.
it's a big umbrella we can talk about.
Yeah, and so we have a little bit of things that we're going to do here, a little bit different. So, again, we're still going to have some of these what you haven't seen type things. We'll expand to other things. I'm going to also open this up because I have a lot of. I guess this is where I'll hit on the new job aspect of things. So, for those of you who don't know, I am a full time professor now at my alma mater, Austin Peay State University, in our sports broadcasting program. I was in this first year. I'll be here for at least 3 more years and have to hopefully pursue a PhD to keep myself here past those 3 years. There's a lot of things on the table here for me, but so I have a little bit more time to do stuff, things like that, and I have a little bit more of a breakdown. But I wanted to wait, and the reason why it's taken so long to get the show back up was Bo and I wanted to start off, which we'll talk about here in a second, with something really cool, something that we've been waiting to get to see. But Bo, I do want you to update all of our loyal listeners who are joining us from what you haven't seen to now Random Schmidt. Tell us a little bit about life update for you because you're in a new place, you're in a whole
Yes.
new state,
Yeah.
still pursuing the dream, still chasing the dream as well.
I'm now, when we last talked, I was in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And now I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. So I'm back in the Midwest. I'm back to where the action is in terms of, severe thunderstorms and tornadoes, what I love. And moved here in October, and now I'm October 2024. And so I'm still a broadcast meteorologist, still on TV, still pursuing the dream. Funny enough, though, I'm now working again with a coworker that me and Ethan used to work with. Well, you used to work with. Of course, I work with her now. When we worked in Joplin together, there was a fellow coworker named Aaron, and we all were really cool. She was really cool. And when I was searching for a new job, she hit me up and was like, "Hey, got a meteorology opening in Omaha, Nebraska. Want to come?" I'm like, sure, let's go. So it just reinforces the idea, folks. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. Because if it wasn't for her, I would have probably skipped over Omaha and not thought twice.
Yeah, but
So,
other than one wild adventure so far, I mean, everything else is going fairly good, and yeah.
wild venture. Yeah, that was an interesting introduction to Omaha. So I had yeah, my car was broken into, unfortunately, and it's within the first 3 months of being here. So it wasn't a great way to be introduced to Omaha, but I've settled in. I'm in a new place, a new location, and my car is in a safe location now.
That's right.
So
That's
so
right.
now I don't think I'm gonna get broken into, which if I do, well, I know it's somebody in my apartment. So
Yeah,
I know I,
exactly.
I can break it down, figure out who did it. But yeah, so I miss Wisconsin though. I will say that. Ethan was the one who told me I should go to Green Bay. And looking back, I'm definitely appreciative that he told me to go to Green Bay because even though he is a Packers fan and I'm a Bears fan, I have a little bit more respect for the Packers now,
As you should.
as you should. Um, I'm not
Titletown
saying
USA, baby.
I'm not saying I'm like a full-on cheesehead Packers fan, but I have more respect for them, and they know how to tailgate. I'll tell you that much.
Amen. Amen. Not
So
much
I'm
to do
not
in the north but drink and eat cheese.
eat cheese, drink, have some sausage. I mean, you can Wisconsin. That's a good state. That's a very good state.
Yeah. Big I will say that I was glad that you were able to get that experience.
I'm glad you told me to go to Green Bay because it was either that or what was the other job? I think it was Madison or something like that. And you're like, go to Green Bay. You won't regret it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I didn't. I don't regret it. Circumstances caused me to have to move, but if I had the choice, I probably looking back would have stayed in Green Bay because it's a awesome location. I'm planning on visiting soon. So
Good. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good. I enjoy that you had, like I said, I mean, I know there were circumstances to make you want to obviously move on, but I'm glad that you
yeah,
were able to get that experience and then kind of get to also better your career and better your, your on air and every step obviously changes how you are
yep,
as a broadcaster. I mean,
broadcast.
I think that's, even the cool thing, even though I'm not on television
You,
as much in the aspect that I was, obviously, and not even as much anymore, but still being able to now broadcast in a different direction with like the ESPN Plus stuff that I do. It
yeah,
just makes me such a, people are always like, I guess this is something I can transition into. I started doing stuff with the wrestling promotion here in Tennessee, learning all aspects of it, not just the on air. But they, kind of put me in front of a camera and they're like, "Do you know what you're doing?" I was like, "I should be all right at this." And then they're like,
yeah,
"What's your background?" And I was like, "Ah, TV." And they're like, "Oh, great, yeah." So,
yeah.
um,
They're like, oh, they hit the jackpot with you.
yeah, so and I've been having a ton of fun with that. So, but not to talk about any more of the stuff we're going on. Obviously, we have more episodes to do of this. There's a ton of time.
That's true. That's
But
true.
you want to see the ghost that's in my office?
The ghost.
There's a ghost in my office.
Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, am I gonna see my first ghost, my
You
first
did,
spirit?
you
Oh my
did.
gosh, he's so cute.
He's in the corner over there.
He's a,
Um, he
the
was just
classic place.
Yeah, he was hiding in one of the whenever I got my office, just hiding in the hallway. Nobody they just left him. So I took him, put him in the office, and I put him up during the like when October 1 hits. I have this really good view. I have these really huge like windows. I can show you obviously because you can see
Okay.
it. I have these huge windows. And so
Okay.
I just put him
Oh
up in
gosh.
the window and like people walk by and be like, "What is in the window?" It's a ghost.
It's a ghost. Yeah. See, this is how classic hauntings start. You come in to a new place, you find an object that you're like, somebody left this behind. Okay, I'll take it. And then that's how a haunting begins, man. Then now you're gonna start seeing stuff fly across the room, and you might even see a real ghost.
No,
So
that's
you
my
might want
boy. That's my boy right there. He's protects me. He makes sure that I'm not.
that little ghost is gonna protect you.
It's my boy. Yeah.
Get some holy water on that thing
They
just
they
to make
know
sure.
they know they know I'm real up in here with them, so they don't ruin my room here. Anyway, let's talk about the main reason why we wanted to bring back Random Schmidt and kind of what we're doing here. We've been discussing because this is going to be a big year for television.
Oh
Two of our
yeah.
favorite shows are back. Obviously, one just came back last night. So fired up for that one.
Yes,
But
me too.
also on top of that, we had a new. We know that Stranger Things will come out this year as well. So we wanted to get
Yes.
back, and this was kind of the right feeling, the right time because we wanted to make sure, and we're going to have a couple episodes where we talk as trailers and whatnot release about Stranger Things because that's going to be
Okay.
coming up. We're going to do an episode soon about the episode title list that were leaked, and we got to see those,
Oh,
so we'll
that's
talk about that
right.
down the road. But the big thing that we wanted to talk about more than anything was last night on Max or HBO Max, whatever you call it, was the return of The Last of Us season two. The first episode dropped last night. Bo, initial feelings after The Last of Us 2
Hey
episode
man,
1 dropped.
I am so happy about the result. that they really invested and made sure that the storyline lined up with the video game. A 10 out of 10 is what I put at it because it was just phenomenal. And it's funny, it's because I was so excited about this episode that I started watching it while we were doing our 10 p.m. show last night. So I am not kidding. I was so excited because it came out at 9 p.m. our time, Central Time. And right, it was 9 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But I had to when you work in broadcasting, you have to do more than just, present the forecast on TV. There's more things you have to do behind the scenes. So I had to do all that stuff, and then by the time I was wrapping up and getting done, I had to get ready for the show. So I'm like, okay, I can in between my hits and the breaks, I can watch the TV. I can watch the episode, and that's what I did. I am literally did my forecast, blah blah. It's gonna be sunny. It's gonna be windy, and then went back to my desk and then just pulled out my phone. And it was just like this the whole time. I'm just watching the episode, and then I'm like hearing okay, we're in break, or hey Bo, your time's coming up. You have 30 seconds to get ready. I'm like, okay, pause, just put it down, did my forecast, came back, started watching because I was just so impressed on how they did it. Now, you and I played the video games,
Hmm.
and you're the one who actually got me into the games, which I'm forever grateful. And you can't, it's hard to take a video game and exactly replicate it and put it into a TV show. So of course they had to add scenes.
Yeah.
And the scenes that they added um, were very much appropriate and actually really enhanced the story. I mean, you saw right off the bat, they went right into introducing Abby.
Yeah. And
I mean,
Abby's going to be a fun character. Um, you'll hate her, you'll love her. And there's no, obviously, we're not going to spoil anything because we know the games. I know some of you who and the game players are like, oh, wait, just wait, because
just wait.
I will say at the ending, I texted you at the ending of it and I was like, I thought that was not where that was going to end. I was like, I can't do
No,
it. Episode one, if this is
I
going to
know.
happen.
It
Um,
scared me because I'm like, literally, the moment that you were talking about, once I knew immediately, once I got to that point, I'm
mhm.
like, oh, like I want to say a word, but it did not end the way that we thought it, but in a positive way. Of course,
Yes.
it was a positive way, but I think it kind of foreshadowed what was to come.
Exactly, and that's a big thing. And it was kind of funny because last night, Callie always watch. She hates watching. Like she loves it, but her anxiety gets really big in this show. Like it's because
Oh
of the
gosh.
clickers and all that. Everybody that's going to be out there, and that
Hmm.
the things that happen in the show. And she looked at me, and I was like, because I normally don't get phased by it because I played the game, so I know the storyline. I
Yes.
mean, I know there's obviously different aspects that get added in and taken away and all that good stuff, but
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen. And I at the end of the episode I said, "Oh man," and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Do you not remember what happens?" And she was like, "No." And I was like, "You don't remember the beginning of the game? You like because she watched me play the beginning of the second game." And she was like, "No, what happens?" And I was like, "Well, I'm not going to ruin it for you," but I was like, "We have a big moment coming up, probably in episode two, unless they do like a side off episode, which they may."
Hmm.
Um, because there's a lot
Yeah.
of cool things you can do right now with it. And I've been
Yes.
I've been listening to the podcast that they do. I got halfway
Okay.
through it. The writers, director, the game creator, and obviously Troy Baker, the voice of Joel in the
Joel.
games. He hosts it, and so I was listening to them, and they were like, "The best part about this is you don't know what the next episode is. You think you know, but you don't
Yes.
know what the next episode is."
Yeah, and it was funny. Me and you were talking about this before the show came out because the big moment we are talking about is like, yeah, people who've never played the games, they're going to be like, they're gonna probably gonna be very upset.
Yeah,
But this moment we were talking about, me and you were talking about how, oh, it could happen in the first episode, at the end of the first episode. But then we also thought, or it could happen at the end of the season,
yeah,
because this is a moment where, like, I feel like it would be hard to have the scene and then, like, not it be the end of it. because they're making the second video game into like 2 seasons
Hmm.
or something like that. So, of course they have to fluff it up and they have to add some aspects into it so they don't like, 'cause, the part that we're talking about happens early in the game.
Yeah.
So I think, in my opinion, this big moment, I think it's going to happen at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Um, because then that will definitely leave people wanting to see season three. Oh, what's going to happen? I was surprised though how early at the end of the first episode, I was surprised how early um that the Abby comes in. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
I was thinking that was going to happen a little later on, but I think the next couple episodes they're going to be backstories.
I think so too. I don't think you can jump right into the meat of what's going on
Hmm.
in the gameplay, at least. But one thing I did like is you establish early that Abby is a member of the Fireflies. Right? That's what
Yep.
we learn early on. In the game, we did not know that because you start off obviously saving that group
Hmm.
from an incident with clickers and runners and all that. So we're going to see that. You'll see that. I mean, that's not really a spoiler. I feel. Um,
No.
I think obviously seeing how it was set up with Ellie seeing the bear being attacked and everything, and the obviously the clicker with its head busted, something big and bad is out there in the woods. And then you
Mhm.
see the more intelligent version of the runner in
Yes.
this first episode as well. Ellie does, and for those of you who don't know, Ellie does get bit again in the game. We know
Hmm.
that, but again,
Yes.
she's immune anyway. So
It's
um,
not gonna do anything. And
exactly,
yes, yeah, she does get bit again. Not in the same exact way,
yeah.
but the general idea is yes, she does get bit again. She tries to hide it,
Yeah.
make it into a scar. But yes, we all know she's immune to it, and hopefully the show kind of goes into like, the idea of, you know, how she's being immune to it.
And one of the things that I like about I think when she gets bit, at least my
Hmm.
mentality, knowing kind of the game and knowing how the first one ended, and for all of you who've watched season one, you kind of realize like unfortunately the way that Ellie is at this point in the first game, the way there was one of two ways you could look at it. Her purpose was to be taken there to die, and you create possibility of immunity to what's going on,
Yes.
or she lives and kind of will always have this idea, like this feeling of then why am I immune? Like,
Hmm.
and because I there's nothing matters at this point
Yes.
because nobody can do anything with my immunity. I'm alone in this world, and I think that's something that maybe if you don't really like it's a feeling that at least I get, is that one of the main reasons why she has this issue with Joel is a lot of people will say it's because like she knows that Joel was lying to her about everything, or she has this feeling like Joel's always been lying to her. But I really think one of her main things that and this never really gets brought to the forefront, and maybe it will at some point, definitely, as I said, as I continue listening to this podcast, but she's alone in the world. No matter who's around her, she always has this thing of like, I'm carrying this major secret of I can be bit. Now I can't be like obviously destroyed, but I can be
Roy,
bit and
yeah.
still like live because I have this immunity and I'm the only person in the world and I can't do anything to help anybody. And I think that's something that never really gets brought to the forefront with her, but she
Hmm.
is definitely feeling that. And, Joel has no way to, help her with that because he technically killed everybody that could have done something with that. But in
Uh-huh.
return, he keeps Ellie alive. And, and again, if you watch the first season, you know why he kept Ellie alive because he lost his daughter. And this is
Hmm.
the closest thing he's had to a daughter. And now he is like, man, I saved this girl and she can never know that I saved her, but she's also treating me terribly. And I think it's such a great dynamic because you really think that deep down, everybody in this town just thinks it's because, oh, she's 19 now. And,
Yeah.
no
It's
19-year-old wants to talk to, their dad, but really it's because she feels deep down that something else happened there in
yeah.
Salt Lake, which we all know did.
Yes. And I get it from an outs. outside view that, oh, rebellious teenager. We were all teenagers once. All of us at one point or another were pissed off with our parents, for whatever reason, for petty stuff. But like, you're right. Ellie deep down knows something is wrong. Like this is, you know, we go from potentially me saving the world to all of a sudden, oh, they can figure it out, and then pull and then just move on. Like, come on. Joel does, I mean, I see why Ellie is like, okay, there's more to the story than just what Joel is telling me. Um, and it would be hard. Think about it. If you were in Ellie's shoes, if you were the only one in the world who was immune to this, I mean, I wouldn't blame her for feeling alone in the
Yeah.
world with this
Yeah.
immunity. You could be bit multiple times and be fine. Of course, you can be shredded, but that's still crazy. I'm still so curious. Did they really go into how she was immune to to the cordyceps?
Yeah, so what they did, remember that was when because the original video game actress of Ellie
Yeah.
played her mom,
Yes,
and she
Ashley
was,
Johnson
yeah, Ashley Johnson, and she was bit. Um,
in the thigh. Yeah.
yeah, and then but she gave birth, and she was whatever happened before she turned with
Hmm.
Ellie was what made her immune. So whatever was like kind of like processed before like the birth
Birth.
gave her an immunity was what they kind of
Took it
made.
as.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that's kind of like how she has that immunity. It was something with um, like how she was
Maybe
born and
like it's like in her DNA, maybe or something.
yeah, something like that. That was kind of how they
Okay.
did it. I feel we'd have to go back and watch for certain on that Ashley Johnson. I might have to go back and listen to that episode too, and see if
Yeah.
they explain a little bit. Because I mean, it has been about what 2 years now since we've
Yeah, I
had the
mean,
last season. So going back to it, and that wasn't something that was canon in the game. It was something that was created for the show that they kind of
mhm,
told us that. So it was
which was great.
yeah, exactly. It gave us another little bit. One of the
A little
things
bit.
that's been new this season has been a couple new characters. We saw Catherine O'Hara come in, and
Yeah.
she's playing like a kind of like a
There.
psychotherapist.
Hmm.
And then, of course, we also get introduced to the character of Dina, who is a just a complete spitfire. And so you get a couple new characters. These are obviously Catherine O'Hara's character is not in the game. It's a new
No.
character that's brought in. Dina
Hmm.
is Dina and Ellie. That's a true relationship. There's
Yep.
more that happens to Dina as well
Hmm.
that you'll learn about as
Oh yeah.
you go down the road a little bit longer. So we'll get that
I think,
a little bit further down the road.
yeah, the people who don't know, you briefly saw the scene of what we're talking about. I think they teased it just a little bit. It was 1 second, but you saw Dina, and she was screaming in pain. And I think that was the moment where it's the scene that you and I are thinking of. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens to Dina. It's yeah, something that was out of left field when we played the game. I'm like, oh snap, this is gonna get interesting. But I think with Catherine O'Hara, because when it was announced that she was gonna be in the series, you and I were like, what is she gonna play? Because there wasn't a character that we could think of that were like, oh, she could play that because all the characters were already booked. So we're thinking, okay, this must be a new character. I don't see her being the character that actually goes out and like kills clickers.
Hmm.
There must be an important aspect or a more of emotional thing about her for her character. And now, obviously, we know she's a therapist to Joel. And and I was texting you this while I was watching the scenes with her, and I'm like, this just proves more and more that Catherine is like one of the best actresses
Oh yeah,
of this generation because she came in with nothing. Like she has nothing to base it off. I mean, of course, I'm sure the creators of the game were like, okay, there's this character named Gail. She's a therapist, and there's a underlying hatred towards Joel because Joel kills Eugene,
yeah.
which I don't. Was there a Eugene in the game? Because I don't remember a Eugene.
I don't remember it either. I don't think so, but again, it's been a hot
Okay.
minute since we played that. Both
Yeah.
of us have played that game. I know they've remastered it, and I'm so
And
tempted to download it again, but I need to
I'm
do
tempted
life
to.
because it'll take up a
I'm
lot of
tempted.
time.
It takes up a lot of time, but it's like worth it because the game is like so good. But I don't know. They made it seem like that there was a Eugene in the game. I just don't remember who it was. But it doesn't matter. He's passed away. And Gail doesn't like hates Joel for it, but the way she delivered it was just like, damn. It was so good how she delivered and showed how much she despises, well, not just despise, but like angry with Joel. And she did she actually made me laugh with like, hey, stop BSing me.
Yeah, yeah,
She made me laugh
absolutely.
about that. Yeah, because we all could tell Joel was lying. We all could tell. But I'm curious. I think Gail, I don't know how she's gonna do it, but I think Gail is gonna find out the real story.
Yeah, figure it out. I will say this much. It says Eugene is a character we have not seen yet, but we'll get a backstory soon about it.
Oh,
So
that's
that's what,
confirmed?
yeah, that may be a spoiler. That was on something I just saw because I was
Okay.
trying to figure it out as well. So we're going to see what happened there. So
Okay.
again, that might be the next episode. We might learn a little bit more about
That's
who
true.
Eugene is and why the killing for that, whatever,
Well,
happens.
she made it seem like, he had to do what he had to do. So I'm assuming Eugene got affected.
That's what I would say too. Yeah.
Yeah, he got infected, so Joel kills Eugene. But I don't know, the way Catherine or Gail made it seem like she almost made it seem like it was Joel's fault that put Eugene in a situation where he got bit. I don't know, because it's one thing to be like, oh, Joel had to do what he had to do. My husband was infected. He shot him, killed him because he was infected. Okay. Like, yeah, it's upsetting in the moment, but then you look back and you're like, okay, I understand why Joel did it. But the way that Catherine or Gail expressed it was like, there's more to the story. Like,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Joel the reason? Did Joel put Eugene in a situation where he got infected?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious to find out more about that backstory.
We also meet new character Jesse, which we know from the
Yes.
game. We meet Jesse. He is going to be a part of
Hmm.
this band with Ellie and Dina in more ways than one. And then
Yeah,
we
I don't
also
say
meet
it
the
like that.
character. We also meet the character of Owen, who is going to be
Hmm.
Abby's kind of right hand man.
We actually just meet the whole squad. So I had to
Yeah,
remember like who the characters' names were. So you have Manny, Nora, Owen, Abby, and then who was the well, she'll eventually, yeah. I forgot the last girl's name. She was in the middle of all of them, but I forgot her name. Um
I just had
you
it pulled
aren't
up. I just had it pulled up. Sorry, I had to, to go
Yeah, I
back.
know. I don't because when you don't play the game for a couple of years, you forget some of the characters' names. But there's Manny, Nora, Owen, Abby, and then there's another girl, but I forgot her name.
Yeah, so
Um,
Manny, you have Nora,
yes.
you have Mel. Mel's
Mel,
the
that's
other
her
one.
name.
And then of course Owen, who is kind of the right hand man to right
Abby.
now to Abby. Um
They did do a good job of trying to find actors who are similar and to the like the looks of the characters in the real game. And I was very impressed with that.
yes.
And the actors and actresses who portrayed these characters, they did a good job. It looks like they have the grasp of who the of each character.
Well, of course Abby is Abby.
Yes. Well, I
Abby
mean,
was the
Abby is
voice in, yeah, and the character in the game. They got
mm,
the same actress, which is freaking phenomenal.
awesome.
And I know if you're someone who plays the game, I don't know how people feel about it or not, but Abby in the game is swole. Like
Yes.
Abby is 100% like with everything that's about to happen, like it all makes sense because Abby is like she is built like a brick wall in the game.
Yes.
But one of the things that is kind of cool about this is she doesn't have to be this way in the she doesn't have to be that way in the show
No.
because you can obviously tell. that because they set this up again, we get introduced to Abby not at the point that you get introduced to her in the
Or
show.
in the show, in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, in the game, you get introduced to Abby like straight up just yoked. Um,
Yes.
and it makes sense when you play the backstory and all that good stuff. Because for those of you who've never played the game, we hope that if you're someone who loves the show, like this is a game to definitely play. You actually
Hmm.
at one point start off, you play you play as Abby, then you will play as Ellie, and then you play as Abby again. So
Yes.
it's a back and forth kind of situation, and then you play Ellie again, but.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
Abby is definitely a character that is extremely strong, extremely tough. But she doesn't have to be in the show
Mm-mm.
because, again, in this, you got to think, in kind of into this apocalyptic world, like who's going to be getting yoked all the time? And again,
Yeah.
but you couldn't make this small girl in a game be this like ferocious monster, tough person because it wouldn't make sense with the body size. So in the game, she had to be bigger, but in the show most people aren't super jacked humans.
Mhm. Like
Um,
to be to be as big as Abby was in the game, I mean, you had to be a serious bodybuilder,
yes, 100%.
um, a serious one, and especially for, I mean, a woman. I mean, she would her body. I will say this, like for a woman, her body almost looks like a man's physique. I mean, she was that built with that
Yeah,
much muscle. So it would be extremely challenging to, it's already hard enough to do that in real life in our age, but like in an apocalyptic world, that's like impossible. So,
yeah,
yes, Abby in the TV show doesn't need to be a bodybuilder, like strong as heck, but the overall purpose of Abby is to show that vengeance, that she is angry and she
vengeance.
wants yeah, you had to do the
I
vengeance.
did.
Um, I should have saw that coming. But you had to have the core of Abby is vengeance and anger, and like she is going to do whatever it takes to find Joel. And Caitlin, the actress,
Hmm.
she definitely portrayed it. Like you look at her and it's like, okay, she has Abby. She has her
Yeah,
figured out.
yeah.
You know, I told you after I watched it, I'm like, Caitlin the actress. She is gonna do a phenomenal job as Abby. I already can see
You're gonna
it.
love her and hate her.
You're gonna love her and you're gonna really hate her,
Yeah,
like
very much so.
really hate her. But I like at the end of the episode where they kind of just give you a behind the scenes look real quick. I liked how one of the creators of the game was like, you're gonna figure out who the heroes are and who are the villains are, but like everybody's gonna think differently on who's the hero, who's the
Yeah,
villain,
yeah,
because this is very complicated. It's not straightforward. Some people may think Joel is the hero. Some people think he's the villain. Some people might think Abby's the hero and she's a villain. It's and I really thrive on that. It's a psychological, what do you think
yeah.
kind of situation. It isn't black and white.
One thing that was really cool to see was
Hmm.
just Bella Ramsey continuing to take the role of Ellie and
Hmm.
continue to just take it to a new level.
Hmm.
We get obviously we get the playback to last season, the first season, the final episode,
Hmm.
um, where she asked Joel, "Swear to me it went down the way you said it did," and that's what we get.
Hmm.
And then we see Bella the first time after you get introduced to Abby. Looks like she's getting the hell knocked out of her,
I
and
know.
ends up winning this like wrestling match. And you can tell that in those 5 years, because you jump 5 years, you can tell in those 5 years that Bella has been sitting back, and every time that she wants to do something, people won't let her do it because she's Joel's daughter. Even though she's not Joel's daughter,
Yeah.
that's the mindset. And she starts it off really well because they tell her that the big guy she was wrestling held back on the punch square to the face, and she said, "Why?" And they said, "Because you'd be
Your
knocked
choice.
out, but also because I didn't want to piss off Joel." And then she looks at him and says, "Don't hold back," as she wipes blood from her face, and you're just like, all right, this is Bella. I mean, this is Ellie. This is what
This is
you'd
Ellie
grow
in
to
the
love at
game.
her. Yeah, absolutely. This is
Yes.
Elle to a whole nother level, and I love the fact that Bella's done such a great job of just continuing to be the I guess the actress that, was so, and people didn't, again, we talked about this, people weren't impressed with her or didn't think that she was like the best pick because she wasn't the most attractive person. We talked about this last season. We were talking about
Yes.
this in one of our other episodes about The Last of Us, but she doesn't have to be. She does a great job of it. She's in your heart because of the personality that she has.
Yes. And that's what makes a good actress. Is like it's not always what it looks like. It's like or how they look. It's how they present the character. She has the aspect of Ellie. This is Ellie in the video game 100%.
Yeah.
And yes, she may not look like it at all, but she can portray Ellie. Because, would you rather have an actress who may look like Ellie, but doesn't have the personality of Ellie? I mean, you wouldn't want that. And it wouldn't make the TV show as great as it is. So yes, Bella doesn't look like Ellie, but she does portray Ellie very well. Like she has Ellie in her. Ellie doesn't she'll kick your butt for
Yeah.
sure. And I really like the fact that a lot of in real time, in our time, there have been years that have passed since the first season. And you definitely notice Bella Ramsey has gotten older.
Yeah.
And that fits perfectly with Ellie because obviously Ellie got older. So, let's say like they didn't wait so long. Or I mean, I guess they didn't have to. There was a strike. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of put a pause on a lot of things. But let's say there wasn't a strike and then just started making season two right after season one. I mean, I think it would have been much harder to portray Ellie or Bella as older
Yeah.
because, she was she was a teenager, a kid in the first season. And if you started recording the season two right after that, she'll still look like a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. They've done a good job with obviously older, making the show a little bit older, making Bella a little bit older,
Mhm.
making, trying to match it up with Ellie because Ellie is 19 in the game when when this all starts going down. I mean, this does happen. Um, but again, I think that we're obviously each week we're gonna watch the show. We'll come back. Bo and I will chat about it. We'll have that conversation. I'm excited to see him go to Seattle because that's a really huge part of obviously the second game is
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah, the no
Um,
spoilers there, folks. It doesn't Jackson, Wyoming is not where most of the story is going to be. We're actually going to be in Seattle
Yeah,
a lot.
so that'll happen. I don't know when that's going to happen because again, like we said, the way that and by the way, shout out to the ending of episode one. I am someone who loves a good cliffhanger. You know
I do
that.
too.
You read all my writings that I do, and you do all the Schmitty stories with me, and
Yep.
I'll leave almost every episode or every other episode sometimes on a cliffhanger, and you're like, "Well, do you have the
What the
next
heck?
episode written?" I'm like, "No," and you're like,
Yeah, I'm
"Well,
I'm
come
I'm
on, man. How long is it going to take?" And it might be weeks before I get the next episode out.
yeah, I'm
So.
still waiting on your zombie book, on your
Oh yeah,
zombie.
I need to get back
I'm
into
caught
that.
up. I'm pretty caught up on it, and I'm like, I'm waiting. Like, oh yeah, he has me hooked on this little zombie storyline that he has been working on for a while, and he's been sending me the scripts for it, and I'm like, holy crap, this is crazy. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and I'm pretty much caught up, and I'm like, dude, hello, when's
Yeah,
the
I'll
next
get
one?
I'll get back to that. I got to get back to writing that, and then I also have to get back to writing Schmitty stories for season four because we need to get that going in
Oh,
October.
that's
But
true.
we're hoping that the book that it's not, it started as a book. I've started to change it more back into a podcast that we can voice called The End. Will hopefully be something that we can do over the next hopefully year or so. We'll be able to start getting people. I need more characters, more voice actors, stuff like that. So I got to get
Oh, that's
everything else
true.
kind of running so that way I can have that. But I have pretty much written everything. We're getting close to the end of that. I think I only have about two more episodes to write for the
That's
first
what I
season.
okay.
So
But
yeah.
yeah, but hey, all the crap is starting to hit the fan.
Yes.
Uh so I'm like, okay, how is this gonna end?
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, we got
Yeah, we got
off
distracted.
topic.
It's
But
on par. It's on par with the
it's on
zombies
part.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Cliffhangers. I mean, but you see Abby arrives at Jackson, Wyoming,
Yeah.
and you're like, Oh, snap. And that's when I was meaning about how quickly they showed Abby and Jackson because I
Yes.
thought, which I think they're gonna show, the group leaving from Seattle to Jackson, Wyoming, because
Yeah.
it is part of the video game.
Yes.
Like, there is a part of it where you see them head to Jackson, and they do go through some stuff, and there's a lot of drama within that group.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll continue to see that. We'll continue to talk about it each week as it comes out and unfolds and kind of go back. We probably both need to play the game again, which I need to. I might have to re-download the second part at least so I can get through
Uh-huh.
that. That's a long game though. It
It's
really is. It's a
it's a
lot of
long
hours
game.
worth.
Yeah, it is, but it's worth it.
It is worth
Um,
it. Yes.
I mean, we could get the remastered version, and then you can just play the game again and get all of the trophies, and
I
then
do have
just
the remastered version. I'm pretty positive. I ended up because I think I
you
got it
did.
for
Okay.
like a discount, so I ended up getting the
Ah,
remastered version of it when it dropped the first time
okay.
around because I had the previous edition or whatever it was. So
Mhm. Yeah, the original,
yeah,
maybe not the PS3, but like the PS4
yeah,
edition. And I mean, even then, but you see the new graphics for him.
I
My
know.
goodness,
Yeah.
so good. The graphics have gotten so much better. But yeah, I might do the same as well. Might just get a little refresher because
Yes, I know.
it's, oh gosh, how long has it been? 4 years, 5 years since we played it? Because I
Yeah,
think I actually played it during COVID. When
yeah,
COVID was going on, I think that's
yeah.
when we were playing it. And so obviously it's been a couple of years. So we might need a little refresher,
I'm gonna have
but
to do it.
and we might have to do it. But I'm very pleased with episode one. I do want to point out the oh gosh, what was it? Like the party scene. It wasn't a party, but it was like the dance,
Yeah, the New Year's Eve dance. Yeah,
the New Year's Eve dance. They got that spot on.
they did. It was beautiful,
It
beautiful
was
scenery.
beautiful. Yes, it's a darn near replication of what you see in the video game. It was a very, very pretty much identical scene, and they did a fantastic job. I was very impressed on that they did that.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how this continues on. Bo, man, I want to thank you so much for joining me, man. We'll have more conversations. We'll do other things. Again, um, the new kind of element of this with Random Schmidt, we're going to do obviously a look at The Last of Us. There'll be a couple other things. We'll talk about other things on this. Again, I'll do a couple, have some people I want to bring in and interview within my office. So we're going to do Random Schmidt in the office as well, just
Cool.
kind of having a side episode of that and whatnot. But we'll jump around. We'll talk about different things, some pop culture stuff, stuff like that. We'll continue talking about The Last of Us, of course, when Stranger Things. We'll give some episodes on that as well, and we'll move through that. But Bo, man, I want to thank you so much for talking with me here today, man.
Oh, of course, talking to you is easy peasy. I don't mind whatsoever. But I mean, it's the cherry on top. Talk about The Last of Us.
That's right,
I'll never
absolutely.
stop talking about that. So I'm excited to see where we see in this TV show, excited where it goes, talk more about that. Stranger Things, we always have to talk about Stranger Things.
That's right, and
So we
that'll be coming up later on this year. So, thank you
Woo.
so much for listening to this episode of Random Schmidt. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you join us again later on down the road.